What's up, guys? My name's Dave.
And I am Tommy.
And welcome back as we are coming live from Segue City. How are you doing today, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you, Dave. I'm really good. How are you, mate?
I'm doing just fan-dabby-dozy. I'm doing very good, actually. Come to mention it, I think that was a bit of an understatement. I'm doing damn fantastic. That's how I'm doing. Damn awesome.
Why is that, Dave?
What's that? Oh, well, that's something we're going to be talking about quite a lot just after we get the Segue segment done and dusted. But oh man, have I had a fun week. But before we get into any of that sort of stuff, Tommy, what have you been up to this week? What have you been doing?
What I've been doing? Playing loads of Xbox, mate, pretty much. I'm not going to lie. It's been pretty chill.
Yeah, it's playing a bit of Elder Scrolls Online.
Playing a lot of Elder Scrolls Online. I'll be frank.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot.
And when the video game bug grabs you, you just can't help but go along for the ride. I know that all too well. All too well.
Yeah, and it's the older MMO bug that's got me as well. So I've been grinding and leveling and all sorts. It's been quite the week.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave? What have you been up to?
Well, as everyone I'm sure on my channel is very glad to hear, I have been playing the hell out of Batman Arkham Knight, and it's so good. It's such a good game. It's so fantastic. I've not been hooked on a game like this in such a long time. Like, quite literally on the edge of my seat. That's how much I've been hooked. It's fantastic.
So, Dave, something that I'm not too sure about, and I'm sure your fans aren't too sure either. Will you be doing a walkthrough of Arkham Knight?
Do you know what? That's a good question, Tommy. I was going to try and keep it going, but I couldn't keep a straight face. Yeah, so, obviously, I played Arkham Asylum, I played Arkham City, I played Arkham Origins, so of course, yes, I am going to be playing Arkham Knight, and now I've near enough finished it. The walkthrough will be coming very soon, because I'm so excited to play this again. But we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. Before we move on, let's get on the way and answer the segue segment from last week. And that was, we were trying to get between Forrest Whitaker and Christopher Lee. So, Tommy, how have you done this? How well have you done this?
Well, I thought I'd done it really well, but we'll get to that later. Right, my link is Forrest Whitaker, who's in The Last King of Scotland with James McAvoy, who is in X-Men Days of Future Past with Ian McKellen, who is in Lord of the Rings with Christopher Lee.
Ah, nice. Is that 6? Have I counted that right?
I'm not sure how we're doing the counting thing, because we're talking about perhaps changing it slightly, or...
Yeah, so this is something...
What are we doing with that, Dave?
Yeah, this was something me and Tommy were talking about before the podcast started, because I came to the realisation that every time we link stuff together in this segue segment, it always normally goes actor film, unless there's maybe is so-and-so is married to so-and-so or brother or sibling, blah, blah. So we normally have some variation of 3 or 5 or 7. And I kept thinking to myself, there must be another way around this. And I've realised that we shouldn't really be including the films. We should be, like, that is the way, like, when you say Brad Pitt is married to Angelina Jolie, you wouldn't put marriage as its own separate thing. And I think that's the same aspect as with the film. We shouldn't say, for example, Matthew McConaughey. Damn it!
You did so well.
I did as well. Matthew McConaughey was in Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio, but Wolf of Wall Street shouldn't really have its own thing. So, for the purposes of this one, we'll leave it doing this way. But then, as of next week, the films will be no longer relevant. Like, that's the way they're linked, but it's really just actor to actor to actor, or to musician, or what have you. But the film is just how they're linked, but that doesn't have to take up its own spot. So yours was right now, was it 5 or 6? I think I must have missed one.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yours was 5. So whereas right now it's 5, it would probably only be 2.
1, 2. Yep.
Yeah, it would just be 2 from next week on. So that's the way we're going to do it from next week. The rules are exactly the same, except for the films or whatever links them together no longer takes up a separate spot. So, but as I say, from next week you'll see it all on the screen anyway. So you came up with a 5, did you, Tommy? Well, I thought I was going to be joining you yet again in the ranks of the 5, that this tie would continue. But finally, I think... The ranks of tie are going to change, and I might be taking the lead, because I have Forrest Whitaker was in Repo Men. Jude Law was also in Repo Men, who was in Hugo with Christopher Lee. Done it in 3. Done it in 3. And as of next week, that would be done it in 1. So, finally, after what? This is the 3rd week, is it, or the 4th week we've been doing this now?
I think fourth. I think it's fourth.
Oh, so that must mean either 2 or 3 ties. I'm not sure how long it was that we actually started counting them, but finally, one up ahead.
Yeah,
come to my level, Tommy.
Next week we're going Orson Welles to Lindsay Lohan. So how do you like that, Dave? Good luck with that, my friend.
Oh, so before we actually, that's not actually the segue segment for next week,
No,
just
it's
warning
not.
you. But before we move on, we did actually get quite a few comments in the description. Quite a few people mentioned the link between Lucasfilms, which unfortunately is not really acceptable. That's it's too broad of a term. That's like saying Tobey Maguire was in a Marvel film and so's I don't know.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, was Nicolas Cage in a Marvel film?
It's Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah, cool. Yes, that's like saying like it's like saying, oh, he was in a film by Paramount. Like so many people have. That's too much of a vaguer thing. But we understand like your thought process. So in its own right, it was okay, but unfortunately not acceptable. The one who did take the mark, who was the best in the comment section from last week, was Napalm Sticks, who did Forrest Whitaker was in Platoon with Johnny Depp, who was in The Corpse Bride with Christopher Lee. So yet again a 3 on tie. I think that's the first person who's actually tied with us.
Yeah.
So
very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
I was very, very impressed when I saw that.
Yeah. And I was worried I wasn't going to be able to beat it for a while. And of course, once we see the comments, we can no longer go down that same route as well. So we have to try and find another way. So you probably find that every time we come up with a route, there might be a better one than the ones we've done. So
yeah.
definitely keep looking. So, but yeah, anyway, well done, Napalm Sticks, and more importantly, well done to me and commiserations to Tommy.
More importantly, of course. Yeah.
More importantly, let's lay our cards on the table here. So, but for all of you who want to join in next week, the Segue segment for next week, and a little hint of what we're going to be talking about in this week's Segue City is you have to link between Tom Holland and Tyrese Gibson. So that's that's going to be quite a leap, unless I think Tommy might have already solved it. In fact,
I have. Yeah.
Didn't take you long, did it?
Nope. But yeah, I think we should start off on that Tom Holland note, since it's what we're going to be starting with from the segue next week. Let's segue right to it right now.
Yeah, so exactly. So Spider-Man news here on Segue City. Something we've always talking about. Spider-Man news, Civil War news, all that sort of good stuff. And for ages, we've been talking about the rumours of how Isa Butterfield was basically a shoo-in for the role, and then how Isa Butterfield ruined it, and now it's between Charlie Plummer and Tom Holland, and blah, 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 blah. Well, recently, they announced that Tom Holland is officially going to be Spider-Man. However, what we also found out through Heroic Hollywood was all these rumours and stuff that we've been hearing isn't as factual as we once thought it was. I mean, we always take rumours with a pinch of salt anyway, but we found out that apparently Tom Holland was a shoo-in for the role, was very much liked by Marvel as of, what was it, the start of May, a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I think that's right.
Yeah, so as I say, links in the description to everything. But basically, what Heroic Hollywood went on to say was they were just mentioning about how, while we're all talking about Isa Butterfield and all these other actors, it was basically Isa Butterfield and Tom Holland were the two that they were most likely looking at, and they were the only two that were really given more information, whereas all the other actors still thought they were in with a chance. It was really more Tom Holland and Isa Butterfield who were actually more
and they
so
were the
in the start.
That were then taken in to do the screen test, which is where they'll get a costume on them, maybe not necessarily the costume, but a costume on them to see what they look like. They we'll get onto this in a moment as well, but they'll bring other actors in to see what their chemistry's like and see what they look like on screen together, that sort of thing. And apparently Holland and Isa Butterfield were the only real contenders in this stage, so it does seem to have been kind of clear in their minds for a while, even predating this whole Reddit crisis that we spoke about last week or the week before.
Yeah, I think it was last week as well. So, and as they said, like, as it says in the article here on Heroic Hollywood, was why all the other actors were sort of tweeting and trying to get their fans to try and push for them to become Spider-Man. The reason why they were doing that, and Tom Holland and Isa Butterfield weren't, is because they still thought they were really in the running, when really they were more further down the list, whereas Tom Holland and Isa Butterfield knew they were a lot higher up the list, so they didn't really need to do that sort of stuff, because they kind of knew it was going to be one of them two. Which also, in a sense, made me feel better about the whole fiasco with the Reddit thing on Isa Butterfield last week, because after reading this article, again, links in the description, it seems like both Marvel and Sony were both more keen on having Tom Holland as of like early May. So it seems like, whereas the thing with Reddit and Isa Butterfield probably didn't help his chances, it seemed like they were more looking towards Tom Holland anyway. So
I think it was the this is a really fascinating article, by the way. So don't think that just because we've spoke about it that you don't need to read it, because they really go in depth into what the casting process for a big studio film like this is. And yeah, for me personally, I thought it was an absolutely fascinating insight into that part of the film world. And while that may not interest you like on the surface of what I've just said, it's definitely worth looking over, because it's just a kind of cool thing to know and get an idea of.
Yeah, definitely, and it also brings credence to the saying of like take this with a pinch of salt, because whenever we talk about stuff and we say this is rumored, we want you to take it as that. Like, it is just a rumor. This is just what people have heard. Like, until somebody actually comes out and confirms it, it is just rumor. And as we're finding out here now, like as you say, if you go read this article here at Heroic Hollywood, you find out that while we're all talking about Isa Butterfield and Charlie Plummer and stuff like that, Marvel knew months in advance that they were already going with Tom Holland. They were. It was just more the sort of the process they were going through, and why everyone else is rumors and speculating. They've already got their person, and then they're keeping their lips sealed about it. So,
which to backtrack as well to the Segue segment, that's kind of the reason why when we did Isa Butterfield in the Segue segment before, we wasn't allowing Isa Butterfield as Spider-Man to be in that, because as you now know, he isn't Spider-Man, so those would have been incorrect anyway. That's why we talk about this as rumour, not fact. Whereas now that we've had the official announcement, it's kind of a bit more acceptable to talk about that as fact, even though technically I suppose anything could still happen. A death. God forbid. I hope that doesn't happen, but these things can still go wrong. But at this point in time, we're dealing with facts and contracts and announcements, so it's a bit more set in stone.
Yeah,
so to speak.
And I say that's why directors, producers, film companies, they have a shortlist. They don't just go, we're having this actor. They have this actor, and then they have a set of backups just in case the proverbial poop does hit the fan. Like, they need to have a backup just in case everything goes wrong, which is, I'm sure, what they probably had with Mark Ruffalo when Edward Norton could no longer be Hulk. Like, I'm sure when they cast Edward Norton, they had a few other people they were thinking, well, this person could be a good Hulk, and that person could also be a good Hulk, and they don't just get their actor and go, yep, done, let's just hope for the best. So, but yeah, so it's just interesting how, like, for months and months we were all talking about Isa Butterfield, and now it's like, nope, Tom Holland. We knew Tom Holland a long time ago. But as you say, if you want to know more information, go check out the link in the description to the article on Heroic Hollywood. Give it a good read. It gives you a lot of backstory as to how the whole process went, who they were looking at, and where it eventually how it eventually landed. So, in that same vein, talking about Tom Holland, actually, there's another link I'll put in the description. I think it's to an article on Screen Rant, and on there they have a very, very short video from Tom Holland's Instagram of him literally walking out onto his patio and doing a front flip off the edge of it. And whereas that's not exactly newsworthy, I just thought that you can see why one small reason why Marvel and Sony like Tom Holland. Because not only is he a good actor, but just like Andrew Garfield, he seems very physically fit with a gymnastics background as well.
Yeah, if you see on his Instagram, there's a few videos of him doing backflips off his patio. There's like a backflip he does in slow motion and some weird side flip thing. You can tell he's been practicing.
Yeah, and it's so casual as well. At least the one I saw, it looks like it doesn't even look like he's gonna do a front flip, and then he's just like, off I go. It's good.
Yeah,
because
I think it's important to say at this stage how happy I am with this casting, because Spider-Man is such an important character, and the MCU is such an important universe. To me as a film goer and a comic reader, and both of those things combined into this modern age of heroic Hollywood, I suppose. So it is really important to me that they got this casting right, and I really do think they did.
Yeah, and like obviously you can go back and watch all the past videos. I was very much in Isa Butterfield's camp when Tommy first mentioned it. I wasn't certain, and he showed me a few pictures of what he looks like now. And then I can remember one particular episode
you can see that, yeah. You can see the change.
I literally was like, "Yep, done. I'm on board." And it's the same now. Like originally, I was gutted when I heard Isa Butterfield wasn't getting it, but it was because I hadn't looked really too much into the contenders, and now I've had a look into Tom Holland and seen some of his acting ability and his physical capabilities. I'm like, yeah. Like, and to a certain extent, like maybe I'm seeing him as a Peter Parker even more now. I don't know. Like, I think they both would have done a good job, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with Tom Holland. Apparently,
Yeah.
also, as it said in the article, he one of the people he screen test with was Robert Downey Jr. as well.
Which is potentially why one of the reasons why Isaac Butterfield didn't get the role, because Isaac Butterfield's 6 foot, which is actually taller than what Robert Downey Jr. is. So it would have been a little bit strange if on screen we see Spider-Man, a 16, 15-year-old character who's taller than Iron Man.
Yeah.
which is one of the things they do look out for in screen tests. So it could have been one of the important factors.
Which, of course, like obviously we know in real life, like you got kids who are 12 that could be taller than a 40-year-old. Like that is what happens. But when you're going to the cinema, you just need to be sucked into this false world of disbelief. And when you see someone who's supposed to be 15 taller than someone who's supposed to be in their mid-30s, early 40s, sometimes you're just like, like, is he supposed to be in school really? Sometimes you just need to have them shorter, just so it'll be like, oh yeah, look, he looks young. Like, it's silly, but it does matter. So. But no, I'm very happy. Like, as we found out with Andrew Garfield as well, having an actor who actually is physically fitter and is gymnastically talented as well. Like, I don't know if you guys are aware, but for obviously the stunts that obviously weren't CGI, I think it was either the majority or nearly all the stunts done in Amazing Spider-Man were done by Andrew Garfield himself. You can see on, like, in the DVD, you can see behind the screen, behind the scenes, like, shots where he's practicing, like, flipping over fences and jumping over bad guys and stuff like that. So, and that made it just look so awesome. Like, whether you liked or disliked Amazing Spider-Man, the action scenes were fantastic. The non-CGI ones.
It gives the directors a lot more freedom with shooting, because if you've got a stunt guy, obviously you have to cut to a wide shot, which is where the cameras are quite far away from the action, so you just see everything kind of in general. Whereas because they don't want to show another person's face basically. But when the actor does their own stunts, sure, they're putting themselves at risk, and that there is like a duty there to the actor and to the director to say, like, look, this is too dangerous, we can't risk you injuring yourself because it will stop us shooting this film. But if there is a chance that an actor can say, no, look, I can do this, and the director says, okay, I believe you, and there's that trust there, and the stunt guys are like, look, he's trained, he can do this, I sign off on it as well, then it does allow the director to then shoot more close-ups and shoot it how they want to make it look as best they can. So it does help the overall product. I hate to use product of film, but it does.
No, it definitely does. And like it's sometimes it, like, most people wouldn't even be aware of that. They're gonna go see the film and just be like, that was cool. But for those who do actually know that that's actually Tom Holland doing those stunts, you're watching it and you're thinking that the same guy who's just acting a scene back now with Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane Watson or Uncle Ben or whatever, like, it's cool to know that same person is also the person doing those stunts, and it's not someone doing a stunt and their voice dubbed over the top of it. They're wearing a mask, so it's easy to do that sort of stuff. Like, it's not just the actor doing like a one quick one-liner over a stuntman. Like, it's cool to actually know that's him doing that and saying that line at the same time. It just makes it all more awesome to watch. It just helps you get sucked in. But also, saying about like the screen testing and stuff like that, I was just reading down the article a bit more, and where it said that obviously you screen test with Robert Downey Jr., which is not only a good thing, the fact he's been screencasting with the current set of the Avengers, but also, let's face it, the actor who kicked off this whole Marvel universe. Apparently he has also been in the obviously he was in the Impossible with Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts, and apparently he's in the movie, I think it still hasn't come out yet, the Heart of the Sea, which is also Chris Hemsworth who plays Thor. So the fact that he's screen test against one actor and he's working with another one of the actors that he's going to be working with in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's just bodes
well for the chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. It just bodes so well for the chemistry, and they're already going to have a working relationship by the time they come to shoot these Marvel movies. So consider me officially pumped. I think that's the best way to round this one off. So,
all right, you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? It's official. Dave is pumped.
Yeah. Stop the presses. Call the police. Like, it's done. That's it. Over. You can relax now. You can all go to sleep. You can all put down your weapons. It's cool. I'm pumped.
You did bring up something interesting though there. Who do you think, first of all, and who would you prefer to be in the Spider-Man as the main love interest for Peter Parker? Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy?
I do not know. Like,
because you've obviously had both now, so.
Yeah, and I mean I feel sorry for the actress, but going to have Mary Jane Watson in Amazing Spider-Man 3, and she was actually in Amazing
She was
Spider-Man
in
2.
Amazing Spider-Man 2. She got cut, didn't she?
Yeah, exactly. And then she's thinking, oh well, I'm gonna be the main character now in Amazing Spider-Man 3, and that never happened, poor lady.
To be fair, you say poor lady, she probably got a big old check for Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the critics slated that film, so she got to distance herself from it, and she still got paid for it. She probably got a pretty good deal out of that. So
Will she still
I
get
guess
paid?
it's silver lining. Yeah, you'd still get paid. She still did work. She shot a scene.
Oh, I thought like I figured if it wasn't like actually broadcast, then I don't know. I just assumed it just wouldn't actually get she wouldn't get paid.
If she shot, for an 8-hour day on a set, for example, yeah, she still get paid for that.
No, fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. Like, whoever you choose, you're gonna have those who go yay, and then those who go nay, and then whoever you choose, you're also gonna get those who go you've done it wrong, and those who go you've done it right. So, I don't know. Like, I honestly do not care. Like, I understand. Okay. Like, I understand the relationship between Spider-Man and Gwen Stacy. Like, Spider-Man was at a point where he did everything on his own, and he was fighting everything on his own, and she was the first person to finally counterbalance him. Because like Spider-Man had been with Mary Jane and split up, and then he got with Gwen Stacy, and it felt like he was never going to be with someone. And then she was the first person who actually kind of brought some sentiments of normalcy to his life, and like could actually. Like, it was the one shining light in his life at that moment. So then, obviously, when she gets killed off by the Green Goblin in the comics, it was as he believes, his own fault, because he was actually technically the one who killed her by like snapping her neck when he grabs her with the web. So he blames himself. So, like, and then obviously then he has his whole future with Mary Jane after that. So it's like, whoever you look at, they were both insanely important aspects to his life. Like, if they were to suddenly pick up like his girlfriend, and this is going to be Charlie Cooper, who was this CSI girlfriend he has like in some of the more recent issues of, well, I'll say recent, like as of the last 10 years of Amazing Spider-Man. But like, if you picked her, then I can imagine everyone being like, well, because not many people know who they are, but everyone by this point knows Gwen Stacy and they know Mary Jane Watson. So whoever they pick, I don't mind, as long as they do it right.
And as long as they make Mary Jane ginger, am I right?
Yeah. Oh, is this gonna be leading on to the?
I think so.
Okay, fair enough. So Tommy's got this thing that he wants to get off his chest. So I'm just gonna let you roll with this one and see what happens.
Right.
Oh God.
So, I just wanna, like, as Dave said, get something off my chest. Have a little talk about something that I've noticed, a trend, if you will, in the comic book universe. It's the cinematic universe and the TV universe and things like that. And I know there's often lots of outcry for this going to be a really touchy subject for a lot of people, but maybe not enough black characters being cast, not a lot of female characters be cast. Well, I want to talk about the ginger characters, because I myself, being self-identified as a ginger, I would just say that there's no representation out there for me. And while I can look to the comic books and see these wonderful ginger characters, when they're then adapted into the film, I'm seeing these characters that, strongly represent, who I am. And they're like, brunettes, blondes maybe, black hair. Is it bald probably sometimes? I don't know. I just feel like they're I don't have a voice on the screen. That's the way it feels. I'm just going to read to you a little list now. Only a short list, but you'll be surprised some of the significant characters on here of characters in the comic who are of the ginger persuasion, who have been cast by someone of a different hair colour. So I'll start off on the lower end of the less important characters. So I'll go with Jimmy Olsen. The friendly, happy-go-lucky, nervous, clumsy photographer for the Daily Planet in Superman. Yeah, not ginger in the films.
Or in
not even in Man of Steel for a start.
Or in Smallville.
But no, not ginger in Smallville either. He's played by Iceman's twin.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Lana Lang again from Smallville. Not only was she not ginger, but she had black hair. Okay. They're just two smaller characters there, which is, oh well, it's just a couple of like side characters. Superman's love interest from when he's younger. Right, Iris West, Barry Allen, the Flash, Barry Allen's wife in the TV show, Ginger. In the TV show, fair enough, they did something bold. They made her black, okay, which is hard to argue against in the society we live in, because understandably there is also a low representation there. But I just feel like they could have done that at the cost of, a character with brown hair or blonde hair. Come on, guys.
What if they had made?
We've got nothing going on.
Well, they had made Wally West's wife actually a black ginger husband. That would have blown your mind.
Well, that's the thing, because now Iris West's child, Wally West, who became the second Flash and a lot of people's favourite Flash, some would argue more powerful than Barry Allen. They'd probably be right, to be fair. So he's Ginger in the comics. Now, understandably, if they ever did get that far in the TV show, he would be an African American, which again is bold and fair enough. But I just feel like I'm losing my voice there a little bit. So now you see we're getting into some slightly bigger characters here, and in the same like CW network TV show thing, I move over to Arrow. So Green Arrow, famously blonde, the big blonde beard and moustache. You may have seen it. Well, his sidekick, Roy Harper, ginger in the comics, not in the TV show though. Oh no, just ordinary brown hair. That's it. Simple, straight down the line, through the middle, cutting the heads off the gingers. That's what it feels like. Then we move into even bigger characters. We'll go to some films that you guys may know I have no real love for, and that's Bryan Singer's X-Men franchise. And in that, we've got a very, very big and important character, Jean Grey. And Jean Grey's ginger in the comics. Famke Jensen, she's not ginger. She does have dyed red hair in the third one, which, we don't really talk about.
That's more of a Phoenix
anyway.
Force thing, really.
But that was just
a
Phoenix thing. Yeah, it had nothing to do with the character in any way. It was just it's just a character that that got taken away from me. And then probably the biggest character on this list, or maybe Jean Grey's bigger than this character, but an important one to me because I'm a fan of this character, and that's Daredevil. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I may have just broken your hearts, but Matt Murdock is a ginger. So I don't know, Dave. That's just what I wanted to get off my chest. I don't know. Which feel like
you saying about the Matt Murdock? That's weird because it seems like at least in what I've read, that's something they're even phasing out in the comics. It seems because I could distinctly remember a few new Avengers issues where he's got brown hair. So it's like almost like in the comics they phased it out as well. So it's not like they didn't even wait for it to get to the movies. They were like, yeah, this is maybe one day someone had coloured it in too much and it went too dark, and they were like, oh, he's brown from now on. I guess he's got brown hair. So, but
utterly ridiculous.
Although they are correcting their mistake now with X-Men Age of Apocalypse with Sophie Turner.
It's true, and I love that cast, and I think she's going to be terrific as Jean Grey.
Yeah, especially for like a younger Jean Grey as well. That's going to be
absolutely.
That's going to be pretty awesome. So yeah,
maybe
I don't know whether I can say I completely agree or disagree with your. I agree with the fact that yes, they've changed from the comics to the movies, but I can't necessarily say I agree with it being a big issue.
That's because you've got black hair, Dave, and you're being represented fairly. So that's why you're thinking that. You would say that.
Yeah, I suppose. I was trying to think about something about me that was very physically different, so I can say, yep, epileptics. That's it. That's one thing. I know it's not really. I know it's nothing to do with the the comic to film universe thing, but that's one thing I can say. Like if there's ever like an epileptic character and they're on the big screen and they're represented wrong, I'm never just like, oh, that's stupid. Like I'm just like, oh well, I don't care. like like mind maps and stuff like that you have to do. So this is going really off topic now. But like mind maps and stuff like that you have to do when you're at university or college or school or what have you. They used to be called brainstorms, didn't they?
Right, yeah.
Now they have to be called mind
showers.
maps or thought showers because apparently brainstorm is offensive to epileptics.
Brainstorm sounds like an awesome film name or something like that.
It sounds like you got a superpower. Brainstorm! It sounds awesome,
Yeah.
but apparently that offends me, according to somebody who told me this. They were like, it's offensive to epileptics. And I'm like, really? Because I'm not offended. I don't give a crap. It's like if someone went, epileptics are stupid, and that was what a thought shower was called, I'd be like, alright. That's stupid. That's a stupid name to call it, but all right, fair enough. Like, I don't know. I suppose, I don't know. Maybe if there was a character that was known for having a huge head, because I have a particularly large forehead. Like, if there was a character known for having a huge head and then they gave him a small head, maybe I'd understand. Like, maybe I could feel your pain, but I don't know.
I just feel like my voice is being taken away from me. That's all.
Fair enough. You can start a movement. You can march on Parliament.
Full disclosure, guys. Like, I'm being like semi-ironic. I really don't care that much. Just in case some people are taking me too seriously if they don't get my sense of humour.
This is where you start like a flame war instead of between Xbox and console or Xbox or PS4. It's now gingers and black hair like warring. Epileptics and you normies in a war. But yeah, so there's that. I don't really know how to segue on from that. But oh, actually, do you know what? No, you're talking about gingers. You mentioned X-Men, so I think we could maybe move on very, very vaguely segue into some X-Men and Fantastic Four news. No, that's what I'm telling you.
Yep.
I don't know if you can quit news though. In fairness, it's more a rumor, which probably won't happen, and if it does, I can't guarantee it would be really any good. But
I don't think it would be.
yeah,
I can't see it being any good at all.
So basically, before we talk about it, it was mentioned on Heroic Hollywood and also other news sources as well that X-Men and Fantastic Four could potentially meet on the big screen in 2018. So as we know, Fox owns both Fantastic Four and both X-Men. That's why there've been reboots and continuity issues, and because it's been run by Fox. yes, we will not get into time travel with you and X-Men time. We do not want to open up that can of worms. But so obviously, because they're owned by the same studio, I think they're looking to do the same sort of thing like the Marvel Universe and the DC Universes. They're thinking, how about if X-Men and Fantastic Four are in a shared universe? Which, in the thought of it, sounds wonderful. Like, new Fantastic Four films coming out in August, which I forget. Like, I forgot that was even coming out in August. Do they even advertise that film? Like, I forgot. Until I just said that, I forgot it came out in August. Like, I literally had to think when I said it just now. The advertisements for that film is actually abysmal. But
maybe if they had a good trailer, they'd show it on TV or something. But they don't.
That's why there's no new trailers, because there's no new good scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, we've got a new Fantastic Four film coming out. We've got a new X-Men film coming out. Is it next year, Age of Apocalypse?
It is, I believe.
Next year.
Just Apocalypse.
Yeah.
X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, is it just It's not called Age of Apocalypse, just Apocalypse. Oh, fair enough. I suppose there's too many issues.
They're not ripping Marvel off that much.
Yeah. So like, they've got current new films coming out. It sounds good on paper. It sounds really cool. The only issue is, and I mean, I'm assuming, Tommy, you've got loads more. There's a few issues. One, Apocalypse is in the 80s. Fantastic Four, from what I can tell, is in the present. So, like, are they going to jump forwards?
Very big issue. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Are they going to jump forwards, 30 years? And yeah, that makes me feel really weird to think the 80s was 30 years ago. Like, I always think of it being 20 years ago. But, like, are they going to now just jump forwards 30 years? Again, meaning they have to recast all of the X-Men? Are they going to make the Fantastic Four time travel back to, like, the 80s or the 90s or wherever the X-Men are? If the X-Men are going to follow their current trend of going a decade every film? Like how are they even going to meet? I don't understand how this is even going to happen. And then at the same time, if they're thinking about making a universe, I'm thinking you could do that just with X-Men. There are so many mutants pre M Day mutants. There are so many. They could make an entire universe just based around mutants. Like Marvel has their Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fox could have their own MCU, the Mutant Cinematic Universe. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
X-Force, X-Factor, X-Men.
Yeah.
You can go to space. Like, there's so much to do in that universe they just aren't doing.
I thought about this the other day, like when you're in the shower and you're just daydreaming about stuff. I thought if they built up the Mutant Cinematic Universe, and I like that. I like that saying. I'm gonna keep that one going. if they keep their Mutant Cinematic Universe growing and getting bigger and bigger, they could even do Schism, and that could be their Civil War. Cyclops' group versus Wolverine's group. Like, that was an actual event. Cyclops' camp, and Wolverine, of all people, thought Cyclops was going too far. And he took the kids, and he went and formed the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning, and Cyclops kept leading his mutant revolution with, like, Magneto and Emma Frost, like, all the people you never thought you'd work with. Like, how cool would that be if after years and years and years, they've built up the mutant universe so much that they could do Schism, and then literally have it as their Civil War, or their Batman versus Superman. Like, That would be awesome, but no, it seems like they might be going X-Men and Fantastic Four. So, Tommy,
Well,
weigh in.
I've got kind of a reactive and a proactive approach to this news. So the reactive would be hearing this, I think it's ridiculous. I don't like the X-Men universe. I don't like the look of this Fantastic universe. I can't see it working out. They're tonally, they're both so different. It would make no sense. It would be like Man of Steel crossing over with X-Men First Class. It just seems like one's too dark or one's light. It doesn't seem like these characters would fit. As you correctly said, time completely different. They'd have to recast one or the other. Hopefully, it'd be the Fantastic because I don't like the look of this universe.
Ooh,
And
I was going to say they can't really recast Fantastic because if it went back to the 80s, most of them wouldn't be born yet because they're like 16 years old or something, aren't they? So
that's why I think it would have to be like rebooted. But right, that leads me nicely onto my proactive solution to this news. So what I think they should do, and what I think would be the best way to do this, Matthew Vaughn has had a very positive influence on the X-Men universe. X-Men First Class was amazing. It's the best, in my opinion, X-Men film. I just think it had the right tone, the right feel, the story worked. Everything about it was just fantastic. And he's still working heavily with Fox. He did Kick-Ass, he did Kingsman. He was a producer on Days of Future Past. He's going to be a producer on Fantastic. So he's got a role at Fox still, which he should pull his weight. He should suggest a new universe after this last Wolverine's done and Apocalypse is in the past, and it should be in the 60s. I think I might have even mentioned this before on the podcast.
yeah,
it should be in the 60s.
I like the idea as well.
With the Fantastic Four at the same time, and it should be poppy and quirky and kind of light-hearted, just in the same vein First Class was, except they won't tie it down or tie it into the existing canon that it just jeopardizes the story because of the plot holes and because they're pandering to all these other creators there to do this thing. Matthew Vaughn should just have a chance to start a universe from the ground up, just as Jon Favreau could with Kevin Feige, and then he could have a producing role and then he could have a directing role. He could probably direct the first X-Men film, the first Fantastic Four film, and perhaps the first crossover film. If they don't cross over in those first individual films, then he can hand it off to directors that he chooses himself, and he could stay on as an executive producer, and then he could carry on with a strong relationship at Fox, making whatever films he wants, because that guy is a goldmine of good films.
Yeah, so I agree with that. Like I said this back when they were doing all the X-Men stuff as well. It's like the fact they're trying to start off this little universe, yet they're trying to still include the previous trilogy. It's like, no, just do what they did with Spider-Man, reboot it. Like if they tried to do this Marvel Cinematic Universe and then say that the previous Spider-Man and Daredevil and Ghost Rider films are part of that universe, it would not have worked. It would have flopped completely. But they were like, no, brand new universe, Iron Man, go. And that's what they should have done with X-Men. When they did First Class, they should have just gone, brand new universe, go with First Class, and that would have kicked it off beautifully. Even if they kept doing like this decade thing, that would have been lovely. But the fact they were like First Class, and then they did the Wolverine, then Days of Future Past, and they linked the two together, and it was just, they should have just done it then. First Class, and then they could have cast a new Wolverine, a new Jean Grey, a new Cyclops. But now there's just, every time, even though they're moving forwards, and I like the new direction, like I like Days of Future Past. I know you weren't a huge fan of it, but I like that. I loved First Class. I'm looking forward to Apocalypse. Like, that would have been a great new universe. Like, if they just started off with First Class and gone. But now you've still got the whole Wolverine who was in the same other Wolverines, even though he's not the same now because history's being rewritten. It just makes it a bit kind of goofy. And now they've started this new Fantastic Four and then gone, oh, should we try and link that into X-Men? Like, it's just, I would like the idea of Fantastic Four and X-Men being together would be cool. It's a franchise that would mix together, and they could open up so many new doors because they're both a team. They're not like, say, like Iron Man, Thor, Cap, who were individuals who came together as a team. They're two teams coming together. So there are so many different dynamics. You've got Colossus and Thing being big powerhouses, and also how's the leadership going to go between Reed and, I don't know, Cyclops, or maybe like Wolverine and Johnny Storm or Thing getting a fight because they're all hotheads. Like, you don't know. Like, the dynamic could be cool, but they would have to start it off, reboot the whole lot, and go, right, in 2020, we're going to have a Fantastic Four X-Men film. In 2016, we're going to do a Fantastic Four. 2018, we're going to have an X-Men film. And then do it like that, so you're building up to this big thing, just like they did with the Avengers, and so on and so forth. But this whole mismatch, trying to still link in the old films, so they're still, like, current and relevant, and it's just this whole goofy thing that Fox is doing, that they just need to bite the bullet and clean slate it.
I think as well what's important is, we may have talked about this before, but these characters were written in a different time. So a lot of it works for Captain America because they just froze him and updated him, so they kind of kept a lot of the things the same. But with these characters, they were written at a time where a lot of elements of their characters had a different meaning and a different metaphor that doesn't necessarily ring true today. The X-Men, for example, the whole mutant thing is a complete metaphor for the civil rights movement with African Americans in America in the 60s. That's exactly what that is. Everything about that is exactly that. And then Charles Xavier and Magneto are both representations of Martin Luther King being Charles Xavier and Malcolm X being Magneto. That's exactly who these characters are based on, and that's exactly what that story is. So, and then with Fantastic Four, it's the same thing, except it's all about America's race against Russia. Again, Fantastic Four versus Doctor Doom, to space and the whole cosmic side of, the exciting new places America was going in the 60s, and that kind of planetary thing that was so so close but so far at the same time. Yet Reed Richards was this genius who finally made it. People go to space all the time now. It's really just not as exciting to people. Whereas I think if you set these stories back in the 60s where they were written and when they were more relevant to their own respected societies and cultures, pop cultures, I think you'll be able to tell better stories then, and I think the characters will just fit in better. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, well, I was going to say there was a couple of things that you've said and I wanted to touch on, but I didn't want to interrupt you because you seem like you're on a roll. But the first thing as well, I was talking about Fantastic Four because there was more to that, and I knew I'd forget. Like, I agree with a lot of things you're saying. Like, set it back in, say, what was it, the 60s? Did you say?
60s, yeah.
60s would be good because not only, as you say, space this new thing, and the fact that if Reed Richards is able to create this thing and get into space, or even if they go to the negative zone, however they want to do it. Like, well, saying that the negative zone was in the Ultimate Universe because it was if they were born or if they started in 2000 onwards. So if they're in the 60s, yeah, space. So the fact that he's the only one who's been able to create this technology to get them to space, not only would the whole world be in wonder, but also it is a perfect time because on another aspect, one of the things that made them so popular is because they were the first, not necessarily group, but I think they might have been the first group, but they were the first family of superheroes. Like, Reed, Johnny and Susan are brother and sister. Reed and Sue are in a relationship, eventually married. Ben is best friends with Reed. They are a family, and that's why they were called the first family of Marvel. Do that in the 60s, you have those wholesome American apple pie family values, and it will work. It will just, like, I can see it now, like with their old cameras taking pictures of them, and there was like the first family of Marvel with their powers, and like, oh geez, Willikers, we saved the day, and like,
yeah, you can't be afraid to be a little bit cheesy, a little bit tongue in cheek when it is set in that time, because it makes sense, and people gravitate to it a bit more when it is set, in a period like that. Whereas if you did that now, you'd literally be like, oh, what is this? This is ridiculous, Yeah,
and that's why, like, if you were to set it in just like what happened, as I say, I haven't read Ultimate Fantastic Four, but just the route this film seems to be going down, not only is technology more advanced, so the technology Reed's going to have to create is going to be far superior, which is what he does in the comics. But if they were to create a first family of Marvel now in the year 2000, they'd have to be dysfunctional, because that's what the most common family life is like, being depicted in movies and TVs. Is this dysfunctional, disjointed. Back in, let's say, in the 60s, it was 2.3 kids, is it the same, where you got 2 adults and is it 3 kids or 2 kids, or I can't remember
I'm
what
not sure.
the dynamic family was back then. But now it's like divorced parents or single mum or single dad or stepchildren or like children from another marriage coming in. Like, that's what a family is, to be honest, is what it's like now. So they wouldn't be able to have this wholesome family values Fantastic Four, because it just would not sell well on the big screen. Having said that, I was going to say, moving on to the X-Men, that is, as you said, like it was say like the civil rights movement. That's something that the X-Men have always been at the forefront of, having like gay team members. And I remember it was in the news as well that Jean-Paul Baptiste, North Star, was the first gay marriage in Marvel Comics. Like, they've had gay couples and gay relationships and gay characters, but apparently that was the first issue just dedicated to a gay marriage. And bear in mind, that writer who took over Astonishing X-Men, going off a bit of a tangent here, completely butchered the series. But that's got nothing to do with their gay relationship. It was just this writer, she just focused on this one character and his immigration, and it was not X-Men anymore. It was ridiculous. But regardless, that's like X-Men have always been the front of. They're always on the hard-hitting facts. They've always tried to have a member in their team who is like that. And if you look at the cast, or the picture that I've got on the screen now, you've already got someone from Africa, you've got a Russian, you've got a Canadian, you've got an American. Like, there's so many different types of people as well. And I think stick them in the 60s along with the Fantastic Four. You got this contrast, this wholesome family values, we're so great, we're so perfect, alongside the X-Men, who are mutants, who are Russian, who Russian, not the Russians bad. They've got mutants, and you've got really black, and you've got gay, and like it's a
really good commentary on. I hate to pick on America just because this is where it's all set, but it is a great commentary on, like, the American culture. I suppose just the Western culture in general, in that two groups of people with superpowers, if you will, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. The whole world hates mutants, hates the X-Men, hates everything they do. They're wrong, they're inhuman. But the Fantastic Four, the people with superpowers, everyone loves them. They live in the same world, and it is literally the fact that, you've got this group who's a tight-knit family and American heroes because they went to space. And you've got these other people that, they've been to space, they've saved America and the world countless times, but because they're different, they're hated and they're picked upon and they're secluded and they're pushed to the outcast of society. So it is a really important commentary, and I think it would be told really well if you had these two contrasting groups of heroes in the world, and I think you could tell some really good stories of that if it was in the 60s. You could do it now, don't get me wrong, with the right writers, a good team behind it. You could still tell that story, but I think it would have a bigger impact if it was period in the 60s.
Yeah, because now there's just too many. Nowadays, I mean, there always has been, but with the introduction of the internet and media and mobile devices, now it's just hate everywhere. Like, everyone hates everyone for hating on this and doing this, and like, it's too much. Back then, I'm assuming it was the same, but without the internet, without the media, it wasn't as widespread. It was more localized to your area and what you hated in that particular area. You didn't have all the worldwide problems other than newspapers and such like that. But like, as we just said, like, literally, like, we've just formed a better plot than I think they ever have. You could literally have it year after year: Fantastic Four, X-Men, Fantastic Four, X-Men, and eventually, after say 2 films each, they have one film where they're together, like their version of Avengers or what have you, where you've always got the Fantastic Four, loved by everyone, saving the world. X-Men, a whole mishmash of different types and varieties of people, all mutants, also saving the world, but hated by everyone. The Fantastic Four are a family, a biological in some aspects just more like close friends, but they're a family. The X-Men are still just a family, but one's hated and one's loved, until this last film where they work together and defeat a common foe. And it's just like, look, it doesn't matter what the issues are, we're all still the same. It's just some are like slapped in a whatever. Like, some are put in a nice happy family, some are put in this disjointed we're mutants family. Yet they all the same sort of thing. But whatever. Like, that'd be such a cool idea. Like, that would be such a cool.
Fox,
thing.
If you're listening,
we'll accept our checks in the post.
You've got my number. Give me a call and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, this is. So look at that, like. Again, this is like what we were talking about with Aquaman in I don't know if it was last week or the week before. Like, when we came up with like some ideas in our head and some scripts in our head of like Aquaman coming out of the water or like stuff like that, and like we were like, man, wouldn't that be so cool? That's the same thing with this. There's like the version they're gonna make. if they do make it, like as I say, it's very unlikely. There's still a huge chance it won't happen. But if it does, it'd be enjoyable, I imagine. But there's no way I'm gonna be
Probably
like,
not.
oh
I'm not
my,
gonna lie.
yeah, I'm not gonna come out and be like, oh my god, that was amazing. It's gonna seem like, you know when they do crossover episodes on TV programs that got nothing to do with each other. Like, I don't know, like if the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did a crossover with Power Rangers. That's what I feel like it would be like. Where it's just like, wow, you do not fit. Like, did you see the Family Guy Simpsons crossover? It
Yeah.
will be like that. Like, it seemed like a really rude Simpsons and a really tamed down Family Guy. That's what I feel it will be like. They just do not fit in each other's world. But do it the way we just said it, man, damn-tastic. Like, man alive. But yeah. So.
Speaking of shared universes, things like that, let's head on over to DC for a minute.
Yeah, let's do it.
So there was kind of news this week again from Heroic Hollywood, the best news and rumors and all that stuff website on the internet that I've heard so far. Thank you, MAMB. And that was about Green Lantern. So there's this rumor coming out now, because as we get closer to these films coming out, as you well know, we get all these casting rumors and who's going to be who, which character's going to be where. You know, who's going to be Ginger, who isn't. And I'm serious, because we're now looking at possibly 3 Green Lanterns being in this film. We've got the original first Green Lantern, which is Hal Jordan. He's looking at potentially being played by Chris Pratt. We've got John Stewart, who's often a heavily rumoured Green Lantern to be in these films. Now it could be him and Hal. And that could be potentially played by our Segue segment of this week, Tyrese Gibson, from the Fast and Furious franchise. And also the other Green Lantern that I talked about having is Guy Gardner, who they haven't got an actor circling around that yet. But I'm just saying, I hope he's Ginger because the character is too. but yeah, I think that's a really interesting way to do it. I mean, we were just saying about how expansive the X-Men universe is, and you can have a shared universe of that alone. You can absolutely do that with Green Lanterns as well. There's hundreds of them. I mean, I guess they kind of already showed a little bit of it in that awful film from 2011 with Ryan Reynolds. Although Ryan Reynolds, by the way, was a fantastic Hal Jordan. If you watch that film, which if you haven't already, I suggest you wouldn't, because I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. If you have, you did get a pretty good idea of who Hal Jordan is and, you know, the kind of fun that he is. And Ryan Reynolds really brought that well. So that's why Hal Jordan is actually my favourite Green Lantern. So while a lot of people wanted the black John Stewart Green Lantern, I was still kind of rooting for Hal Jordan. So this news that now we might be getting not 1, not 2, but 3 Green Lanterns is actually really good for me. What do you think to it?
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Like when I said I've seen that really awful Green Lantern film, which you're completely correct. Like Ryan Reynolds was really one of the only good things going for that film. But that's another one of those cases of good actor, bad writing. Like there was only so much better he could have made that. Like.
Well, and now we're gonna get to see Ryan Reynolds redeem himself because he had that same problem with Gavin Hood in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
When he played Wade Wilson, never really got to play Deadpool, I'd say. But now he's getting another chance next February, which I cannot wait for.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be so good. But no, I think it's cool, like, because one thing, as you said, they touched on in the Green Lantern. Well, I not really touched on, but he went into space, but it was the whole Green Lantern Corps, and I think having 3 Green Lanterns on Earth is a better way to say, look, there's this whole galactic Green Lantern Corps without having to actually go all the way into space. They can keep it localized to this DC universe of Earth without having... Because that's the one problem that Green Lantern runs the risk of. He's a part of this universe, but kind of the same risk that Thor was running, but I think has done it quite well, is in the fact that he's off-world a lot of times. So sometimes it's really hard to keep it in your head that this is still that same Marvel universe with Captain America and Iron Man when he's a god off in Asgard. And I can imagine Green Lantern would run this same risk of, like, he's still with Superman, Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, what have you, when he's constantly off with the Green Lantern Corps. So I think that's a good way, like, as I say, I think Thor did it well, but I think there's also a good way, a flip side of doing it, is just having these 3 Green Lanterns on Earth. So it's a constant reminder that there is this Lantern Corps out there, but you can still be kept on Earth. So yeah. I like it, and it's interesting, like, what are you going to do with the 3 Lanterns? Like, how are they going to interact with each other? Are they going to get on? Are they going to be at odds with each other? Like, how are they going to start butting heads? How's it actually going to go? How's it going to go when it comes to Justice League? Why is only one of the Lanterns part of the Justice League? Like, how's it all going to go down? Like, I can see many stories they could form from this.
Yeah, definitely. I am really again rumor territory, so take it all with that famous pinch of salt that we keep talking about. But yeah, I'm just ready to see what they do come up with, and I honestly hope it's true. I think Chris Pine. I don't know if I said that a second ago, but Chris Pine's the guy circling around the Hal Jordan role. He's someone I've been talking about for a while now, since he first started circling that. Who I wanted to see play Hal Jordan. I think he can do it really well. For you guys that don't know, I suppose there's a picture of him on the screen now, so you do know. But he was we played Captain Kirk in the reboot Star Wars films. So
Yes, indeed. So we've got was it Chris Pine, and also it's just been rumored possibly Tyrese Gibson. Is there a third person being rumored, or is it
there
just
isn't.
the two so far?
There's no one circling around. As far as I'm aware, and as far as recording this, I believe that there is no one circling around the Guy Gardner role as of yet.
All right, fair enough. So, but no, I'm interested to see like where this is gonna. Where this go. Like, as I say, like my DC knowledge is nowhere near as vast as yours. Like I knew there was a Lantern Corps. I didn't know. I thought there was only one Green Lantern for Earth. I wasn't aware there were several. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. So I mean, a lot of my DC knowledge gets. I know obviously the way the films and the games go are not the same as the comics. They take from the comics and change the story just like they did with the Marvel universe. But I mean, I've learned more I think from the films than I knew before the films, and also quite recently with some games that we're going to talk about a bit later. So, but no, I'm interested to see where it's going to go.
Yeah.
But I was going to use that to segue nicely onto some of the Batman stuff I wanted to talk about. But something, and finally I get to say this, breaking news. Oh, breaking news. I was just scrolling through my phone, and I've seen a drop yet again on Heroic Hollywood. So, guys, check this page out. For those of you who watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., apparently it is Secret Warriors are coming to Season 3 of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is going to be quite cool. So I want to talk about this, but also I don't want to say what happens at the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because obviously it's for those who haven't seen it, it'll be huge spoilers. So, well, actually, no, I can without actually giving anything away. So, basically, the focus of Season 3, and this is not saying anything that's happened in Season 1 or 2, but the focus of Season 3, so, as I say, like, it's not really spoilers, because I haven't seen Season 3, it hasn't happened yet, is basically that Coulson, or maybe someone in Coulson's team, is going to be looking to form a team of superheroes, but not like the Avengers, not out there, not on this grand scale with everyone looking at them, behind the scenes, and that is where the idea of the Secret Warriors comes from, which was originally a Marvel series which was created by Jonathan Hickman and the artist Stefano Casali. I mean, I pretty butchered her name, so. But yeah, it's just this group of superheroes, but they completely out spotlight, they covert, basically what S.H.I.E.L.D. would be. And it looks like that's what the focus of Season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, which is cool. Because like I've heard two conflicting stories of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Some people go, oh, I like it, but it's not really superhero-y. And others go, I was expecting it more to be about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and not the superhero aspect of the Marvel Universe. They were expecting it to be more Black Ops, not James Bond, but like agents. Not
that's what I wanted. Yeah,
there we go. It's not necessarily superhero stuff, but I like this. Like they've done quite a lot of agency sort of stuff. Like Season 2 was very heavily focused on S.H.I.E.L.D. as an organisation. So
I wanted it to be like 24 meets the Marvel Universe. Like I feel like I could get enough of the superheroes in the films.
Yeah, but then I think if they did that, maybe they'd lose audience because the people that are going to watch that are people who like the superheroes. So I suppose they can't. They do have a lot of
or gain a new
governmental
audience
stuff.
who don't like the superheroes. So I don't know. I feel
Possibly.
like swings and roundabouts with it.
Yeah, possibly. But no, I'm liking where this is going. Like they're bringing, instead of bringing the agents to the superhero world, they're bringing the superhero world to the agents. So I'm interested. I'm really curious to see what characters they're going to bring in for the Secret Warriors. Like who are going to be the Secret Warriors? I'm really like, I won't say their name, but for anyone who's watched season 1 and 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we already know who one of them is, or possibly two, based on possibly three. Possibly three. We already know who possibly three of them are going to be, based from season 1 and 2. But I say this is all rumor and speculation. I have no idea. But no, this is cool. Like, I've only just seen this. This is fantastic. Secret Warriors, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Coming in September. So that's gonna be badass. It's gonna be completely badass. Can't wait for that. So, but Yeah, well, anything you want to talk about before I branch off onto something that I've been very, very excited about this past week?
No, I think that's about it.
You ready for me to go on my huge rant on this?
Oh, actually, I think it'll be nice if you end on that. So I'll just jump on something real quick, so we don't have to talk about that afterwards, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it then.
Well, obviously it's going to be Star Wars what I'll talk about because what else would it be? So, season 2 of Star Wars Rebels has premiered. So I haven't actually seen this new first episode yet, but I just wanted to take this opportunity while it's in the news to mention to you guys that if you've seen Star Wars and maybe the Clone Wars and stuff like that, but thought just because this one was, this show's been premiering on Disney XD that it's too kiddie or not worth watching, put that all to the back of your head because it is absolutely worth it. This is a really great show and it's dealing already with some really dark themes, that I had no idea would be in this. So I just wanted to, yeah, like I said, take this opportunity. It's kind of like a public service announcement, PSA kind of thing of just please go and check this out. The season 2's only just started. Season 1 was probably 13 or so episodes, I think. So just go check it out however you can, and yeah, just enjoy yourself because there are a few moments where you're sort of like, oh, okay, that's for the kids, but really that there's maybe one or two moments in the whole series like that, and I thought I'd be getting that, every minute in every episode, and it's not at all. So sorry, that's about all, Dave. There.
No,
Thank you.
that's fair enough. Thank you very much for your time. No, but that's the thing. Is like quite often there are many, many good cartoons that you assume are going to be obviously childlike because they're cartoons, but like you're not aware
You forget who's creating them. It's lovers of Star Wars who want to tell cool stories.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like when people think like, and obviously I'm going to my point of reference, the stuff I know. You think about good cartoons, I think of the 90s X-Men, I think of 90s Spider-Man. Exactly, like still my ringtone to this day.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Spider-Bird. It's so cool. Oh, which, by the way, I'll put a link in the description. I pretty mentioned this ages ago, but somebody made a long time ago the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. They made the intro music with scenes from Amazing Spider-Man 1. And it is fantastic. It is so well done. I'll put a link to that in the description just in case you guys want to check that out. It's so awesome. But yeah, it's like I think of the great cartoons. I think of X-Men's 90s. I think of Spider-Man 90s. But then there are some newer ones that were great. Spectacular Spider-Man was a great cartoon, and of course got cancelled because everyone loved it. Which makes no sense, and then Ultimate Spider-Man gets brought out, which apparently has got better. Apparently people say it's good. Yeah, well there you go. I was going to say, oh god, I'm stabbing myself with scissors. But I knew someone said it was good, and it must have been you. But I remember watching a bit of it once before and just thought, oh my lord, like this just looks like it's just pandering. But
I think I loved it because there's Guardians in it, so I will admit I'm a little bit biased.
Yeah, and then they probably only had Guardians in it because
it was pre-filmed.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, like Ant-Man's just joined this Avengers Assemble cartoon. And it's just like, look at that. Isn't that funny?
I should also briefly mention another reason why Rebels is worth watching. It's all canon. So everything that happens in this show is part of the history of Star Wars. Every character, every character from the film that speaks to a character in the show, that conversation actually happened. So it does really enrich the characters and your experience of the film because you'll see I don't know, Lando Calrissian and having a conversation in the show, and then you'll watch the film and be like, oh look, that's the guy and he was in the show and he spoke to so and so. So it's a really great way, I think, for the younger generation to get into the older Star Wars films, because I think the only experience a lot of the younger people have is the prequels, and that's very unfortunate. Again, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy either. So it's nice that people are now getting a cool, fun way to be introduced to the good Star Wars films, because it is set between episode 3 and 4, closer to episode 4, so it is all like the Empire and Death Stars and Stormtroopers and things like that. So yeah, it's a very, very cool show.
Saying about that, there's something I wanted to actually mention about the Star Wars and this whole canon universe actually, and that was one of the things like you were saying about it, and like I agreed with you, it's really cool the way they're doing it. But I just thought of one thing inside my head, and I was just wondering, like, obviously anything big that happens is going to happen in movies. They're not going to make this really huge thing, like they're not going to kill off a massive character in the cartoons and then next film they'll be like, where's he gone? Oh, he was killed off in the cartoons. Like I understand like nothing like that's going to happen. It's mainly going to be smaller stuff. that is going to be going on in the games and stuff like that. So you're not going to miss a huge plot point because you didn't play a mobile game or something like that. But at the same time, I was just thinking to myself, imagine if you're a huge fan of Star Wars, like maybe quite an older fan, like you're in your 40s, or I'm not saying that's old, but I'm just saying like more than a
Older.
kid. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
you're not 12. Like, so like say like you want to watch the films, you're watching them in more of a serious mindset, and then you're thinking to yourself, man, now I've got to go watch this cartoon because I want to find out what else happens. And like you're sitting there and you're thinking, like you're watching Star Wars with this really serious brain, this really serious outlook, and then you have to watch a cartoon just so you don't miss stuff. And then you're sitting there thinking, man, it's kind of like when someone does a bad parody of your favourite thing. Like, I'm not saying the cartoons are going to be bad at all, but I just what I like for people like yourself, like it's an awesome thing, and I can imagine the way it's going to work is going to be so cool. It'll actually feel more like a universe because there's all these different things happening in different places.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can imagine maybe someone who's been a hardcore fan for like 30 years might be a bit sort of irked about it because now they have to play this game and now they have to watch this cartoon. And of course, obviously, this cartoon is not going to be as serious as the film, so it kind of almost. Basically, God, this is such a really bad example, but the only way I can equate this is when they PG WWE. Like, you're from the days of Stone Cold Steve Austin flipping people off, and now you're to, you can't see me. The FU becomes the attitude adjustment. Like, I can imagine that's what it would be like. Like, you're this older guy and you're loving Star Wars, and then you have to go watch this pretty more childlike cartoon just to get all the info on it. But in saying that, you said I suppose the cartoon isn't that childlike, so.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
That was just a thought.
It's an excellent point. But the thing is, if you're not into that and you don't want to read monthly comics, like I know it sounds strange, but a lot of people are into this sort of thing. A lot of that stuff's just then on a wiki page. So if you want to hear about like, oh, I wonder what Darth Vader was doing, so and so, at this point in time in canon. You can just go like pop on the Wikipedia, be like, oh, that's cool, that's kind of a cool story, and then that's it, and then just know that's part of the history. Whereas anything significant, like if a character did die, there and they didn't want to show it in a film, they'd obviously just heavily mention it and stuff like that. So I think they would. I mean, there is a huge team working on this. The Lucasfilm Story Group, I think they're called, or something like that, and there is. A lot of thought that goes into every story element that's revealed here, that's revealed there. So the best example I can give is so in episode 7 we know we're on a new planet called Jakku. It was revealed at Star Wars Celebration. We saw in the second teaser trailer that there is a Star Destroyer crashed into the planet, and for most moviegoers it could be, oh look, we pan across in Jakku and oh look, there's a Star Destroyer crash. That's kind of cool. Wonder what happened there. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, moving on to the main plot of the film, to these characters that you fall in love with, etc., etc. And that's it. It's just something that looks cool in the background. But to people that play Star Wars Battlefront, you then find out what that battle was about, how it ended, who won, that sort of thing. You find all that out from the game. So then it just enriches the story rather than takes away from the story.
Oh right, yeah,
see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. So like, it's not like you have to, like, you can just watch the films and still get all the information, but whereas you might pass a battle and go, oh, there's a war brewing on Hoth, I don't know Star Wars, but like I can imagine like someone going, oh, there's a war going on here, and the game is that war. But if you don't play that game, you're really not missing anything, because that war has got nothing to do with what.
The main story. Yeah?
Okay, no, that's cool. Yeah, like I imagine it being canon, but like the story runs through all of it. Like, kind of like when they do an event in the comics, and like you maybe you just read X-Men, but then when there's an X-Men event, and now you've got to pick up X-Men, X-Factor, X-Force to read them in order. Like I imagined it being like that, and I was just
that's
like,
exactly
man.
Right. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Yeah. So that'd be badass then. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, and that's spread across games, books, comics, TV shows, and films. So that is for me very, very exciting. That all of this is going to be everything they release is going to be connected.
Yeah, and I like completely off the canon thing. I know it's just what we were just chatting about, but regardless of canon, I'm probably picking up Rogue One anyway, because that game looked fantastic from that trailer.
Battlefront, you mean?
Last week. Battlefront, sorry, yeah. Oh, you saw Rogue One's the film. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, Battlefront. I mean, like the game looked fantastic from that trailer I saw. So, with game news being mentioned, could I now gladly segue? I'm really upset also that I finished my glass of water because I got a sore throat and I'm about to speak for a long time. Batman Arkham Knight. So. This is a game that a lot of you on my channel have been desperately waiting for to come out, and now it has come out and been played with question upon question. When am I going to do the walkthrough? So, to answer all your fears, I mean, obviously I'll probably do a separate announcement for everyone else, but I have, as of just like before we started recording this podcast, just finished the game. I'm playing the other episodes you get, like the downloadable content, like the Red Hood, the Harley Quinn. Playing that sort of stuff right now. I'm also going around collecting all the Riddler's trophies so I can officially 100% the game and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, walkthrough will be coming very soon. Literally as soon as I find some time to sit down and get something recorded, I'm going to get some recorded because this game has been. Obviously, I've just come off playing it. So you could say, oh, this is Hype City. But I cannot think of a game that I've sat down and played all day, every day for a week straight, like since I was a kid. Like, I can't think of a game I did that. Maybe Mass Effect was the last one I did that. But even then I took breaks. Even then I went out and did stuff. I went to the midnight release of Arkham Knight, Monday night. Got it all installed, downloaded everything Monday night just to get it all working. 'Cause it's the first game I've played on my new next-gen console. And sat there for over 12 hours Tuesday, for nearly 12 hours Wednesday, Thursday, and then just a little bit this morning just to finish off the last bits of the story. And I cannot think of a game I've ever done that before. Like, in my life, like even Mass Effect, I took breaks. I was like, that's enough for one day. Like, I was hooked. Absolutely hooked. Like, literally sitting on the edge of my seat. There was points where I needed to go to the toilet for over an hour. I just couldn't drag myself away. I was like, I'm just gonna destroy this checkpoint, or I've got to go find Commissioner Gordon. Like, I just couldn't help myself. It was just something about this game. Like, obviously, I'm trying to think to myself, like, it's my first next-gen console, so I think this game looks beautiful. I think it looks fantastic. But then it's going to, because it's visually the best game I've ever played, because it's the first big title that I've ever played on a next-gen console. So in that aspect, I might be a bit biased, but the game does look so beautiful. Especially, and this isn't spoilers for the game, in the end credits, they have like an homage, and they keep showing like screenshots of Asylum and City, and like, you look at that and Batman looks like dirt. He looks so horrible compared to what he looks like in Arkham Knight, but I loved it. I thought the story was fantastic. The launch trailer before it came out, which will be in the description, I have watched so many times because the way they've got a song by Muse to it as well, and the way they have it all together. And you've got I forget the name of the actor. He played Mike Ehrmantraut in Breaking Bad. He's doing the voice of Commissioner Gordon, and like he just sells his lines perfectly. And you got John Noble, who was Walter Bishop in Fringe, and he's also in something, I think Sleepy Hollow, I think it's a program he's in as well right now, more recently, and he does the voice of Scarecrow as well. So they're two fantastic voice actors to have as like some of the main protagonists, antagonists of the game. But no, the whole thing is just fantastic. Every single thing about it. You have the same sort of I know I'm going on, but like you have the same sort of formula like City had and Origins had, where you've got like your main story and then you've got your sort of like, your side quest and your Riddler quest and all that sort of stuff. That same formula's here, but obviously we know we've got the introduction of the Batmobile, which I could not drive at all, and I finally started to pick it up, and like when I'm driving around the city, I'm awesome, but obviously because it's a new introduction, you've got challenges that adjust towards the Batmobile, and I'm useless at them, but still I find the game so much fun. And this is people who've watched my Arkham City walkthrough will know this, I even enjoy the augmented reality training in this game, and I hated them with a passion in City, but I love them in this. I think they're actually really quite fun. So, but oh man, like it's just so immersive. Like when it in the trailers, when it says "Be the Batman," like you are the Batman. Like, oh man, it's just like I don't think there's so many other things I was gonna mention. I can't even think right now. But the game is so good. Like I've completed it and tried to do absolutely everything in the game I can, and I want to go back and start it again. And whereas with maybe because I played all the other Batman games back to back, or where I've played other games in the past, I finished them and I'm like, that was awesome, but I'm done. Like when I played Walking Dead, I was like, oh my god, like what am I going to do with my life now? But I didn't want to go back and play it again. Whereas Arkham Knight, I literally want to end this podcast and just go start a new game, like do New Game Plus or something like that. Oh man, it was so good. I loved it. I can't wait to start doing walkthrough of it. And you haven't even seen some of the trailers yet for it, have you, Tommy?
No, I've been avoiding it because I don't want to hype myself up too much. I don't want to see too much. I want to go in pretty clean, pretty fresh. I didn't play Origins just because, in all honesty, I wasn't ready for a game that wasn't made by Rocksteady and didn't have Kevin Conroy in it.
No.
So, as the voice actor as Batman. But Dave, I do have to quickly take away from this Batman discussion because Heroic Hollywood has literally just dropped a new bomb.
Okay.
Okay, it's not actually that big. It's because it's quite small. It's Ant-Man. Right. they have revealed the mid and post credit scene, not the actual videos, just what they are. I will not spoil them. Do not worry. But I think I'm just going to point out a couple of things. It's interesting that we are getting both a mid and post. So stay to the end of the credits, kids, because yeah, it's not going to be like Age of Ultron where we only got the mid credit scene. We are getting two. And while I won't reveal the content, I will say that yes, one of them is for Civil War. So
it had to be. I
oh
think,
yes.
I think, and a lot of people turning their nose up about Ant-Man, but I think Ant-Man is. Bear in mind, like, regardless of whether now this is the end of Phase 2 or the start of Phase 3 or however it was supposed to be, I think Ant-Man was always going to be a huge factor into the lead up to Civil War. If you think about the fact that he's wearing the Ant-Man suit, which is made of Pym particles, and Hank Pym, I assume, has his own company, like he holds some pretty some political power, I guess, maybe a way of saying it. Like, you own a large company, you have some sentiment of power, and I guess with all these companies, I'm guessing it's the main plot of Ant-Man is trying to get this Ant-Man formula, and Scott Lang's running around like, no, you ain't gonna have it. I'm Ant-Man. Like, I can assume there's gonna be some sort of fallout from it, which is gonna lead nicely into Civil War. So. But from all the stuff I've heard from people who have seen Ant-Man, like reviewers, everyone who's been naysaying Ant-Man, all the reviewers have been going, just wait. Like, they're not saying anything, like, they're not saying you're wrong, but they're just like, well, other than...
I think Embargo is still up, isn't it? Yeah.
He has. Like, one person went, I can't wait for Ant-Man, for you to say this, and Ant-Man flop, and he went, I can't wait for you to watch Ant-Man and realise it hasn't. Like, so, yeah, like, I think it's going to be good. But I think the other one may be Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it. I want to see it there and then. But you can see the Heroic Hollywood link probably in the description, Dave.
Yes, it will be in there. Like myself, I'm not going to watch it. He was putting on Twitter recently. He was like, retweet if you don't want to see it, favourite if you do want to see it. And loads of people were favouriting, so I thought to myself, I might have to boycott Twitter for a little bit.
No. Heroic Hollywood would never do that. Emma wouldn't, and the website hasn't posted it. There are multiple, like, not only is the headline, big spoiler warning, bold, but the whole opening paragraph is saying, like, look, spoilers coming, be warned. Don't go any further.
Yeah.
It's saying be mindful. Don't post it yourself. If you're going to repost my story, use the appropriate headlines. Like, he's big on anti-spoiler thing as well. So I'm going to say to you guys, if you do choose to read that, please be a decent human being and don't spoil it for me and Dave in the comments.
Yeah.
Be respectful to other people who really want to enjoy the story for the first time. It's fine if you're not like that. A lot of people, do just want to know as soon as possible. I kind of get that. Some things I'm like that as well, I suppose. But for this case, I personally, and I know you, Dave, as well, would want to experience it when we're there. We're not going to read it now.
Yep.
So I'd appreciate it if you guys could do the same.
And
again, not just me and Dave, for other people. Like, don't post it on Twitter, on your Twitter or your Facebook when people who may be following you might not want to see that.
Yeah. And it's like you guys know I'm not really one of these people who does this sort of thing, but I'm saying it now. If anyone posts something in the comments, either on purpose or, oh, it was an accident, I'm blocking you from this channel outright. Like, that's it, you're done. Like,
there you go.
You don't get two chances when it comes to ruining Marvel movies. Like, that's the way it goes. And some people go, oh, I didn't realise it was a spoiler. And I was like, if you're telling me anything about the film, it's a spoiler. Like, you could just tell me a character that's in the film, and I didn't know they're in the film. That's a spoiler. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like,
For example, if, I don't know, Wolverine was in it, that you might not think, oh, it's just the characters in the film. That is a spoiler.
Yeah.
Obviously I just made that up, but it's that sort of thing. So it could be anything. So just be mindful of how other people want to enjoy their things and let them enjoy it in the way they want to.
Yeah. The way I figure is if it's something you've just found out, then the odds are other people don't know about it. So now this is where nobody ever tells me any news now because they're worried about getting blocked.
Even if the film's been out for like a week, I was still then first. But if you've been listening to this podcast since the beginning, with Age of Ultron, it'd already been out a week, and we are still kind of like, right, we're gonna talk about it. Spoiler alert. We didn't just go, well, it's out now, so Iron Man dies, or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, that's a fake spoiler.
And like in the same respect, that's why I've been playing Arkham Knight so religiously. Other than the fact that I really wanted to, and I'm really glad that I've loved it this much. But I've been playing it so much because I was just waiting for someone to post on Twitter, oh, this is who the Arkham Knight is, because obviously you don't know who he is until you play to the end of the game. Yeah.
I haven't even watched trailers for that very reason.
Yeah, well, if you do, don't go to the comments, because somebody, and I'm not going to repeat what they said, was just like, oh, no spoilers, and I'm not bragging, and then went, but I'll give you a hint, and then put the initials of the character who is the Arkham Knight, and I was just like, if anyone is a DC fan, they're gonna know who that is. Like, I was just like, you're such a jerk. Luckily, I didn't. Obviously, I wanted to find out the song in the launch trailer because I really wanted to download it, and I didn't go to the trailer just in case it came up on Google or something like that. So I waited until I completed the game before I went and looked for it, because I was like, you are not ruining this for me. But yeah, so so like if you want to check it out, links in the description. But I think if you're anything like me and Tommy, it's so much better just to go wait and watch it at the cinema and be amazed. If you know it's coming, then you've already ruined it for yourself. So
I wish I could be the sort of human being who could never watch a trailer and just go in and see a film.
Yeah.
I said to myself that I would not watch a single Star Wars trailer before it came out. Yet I have watched every single one of them within the hour of it being released.
Yeah.
I watched the second one live streamed and I cried. So I haven't kept to that very well. I'll be honest. It's difficult, but it is a different and probably perhaps better experience. For me though, it is kind of different now, where I live in a world where I love, every casted announcement, is it going to be this, is it going to be that? I love all the trailers going to be dropping tomorrow, I better wake up for it, and all that kind of thing. I'm very much in that world at the moment, but it's just a different experience. I definitely recommend trying it for, a game or a film that you may not be completely interested in, that you might just want to go, oh, I might actually go and check this out now that I didn't see any trailers and stuff. It is, I would say, experiment with it, see how it goes, because it's different.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when it comes down to it, it depends like how much of a passion you have for something. So like, for example, with Arkham Knight, everyone was telling me like, have you seen this trailer? Have you seen that trailer? Do you know they've got this in there? And I was like, no. It's like, because I have not been watching any trailers, like I've been not watching any announcements, I've been watching nothing. And about a week before it came out, I started watching trailers, because I knew it was just about to come out, and I kind of got myself a little bit excited because I just pre-ordered it. And like, I started watching trailers, and I got really pumped for it, and thought, that comes out in a week. And by the way, the trailers for Arkham Knight are all really good. Like, they slowly build up and up and up, and you've got one focusing on the enemies and stuff. It's really cool. But
you one just before we recorded this podcast.
Yeah,
I was like, no, I'm sorry, Dave, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, it was the launch trailer as well, so it's beautiful. But yeah, so like for that, I didn't watch anything until just before it came out. Something like Mass Effect, however, I'm going to watch every tidbit of information. Like, I've got the charting of development when they had a Mass Effect at one of the Comic Cons or something like that. I've had it like bookmarked in my favourites for as long as I can remember, and every now and then I'll just go back and watch that Mako scene over and over again, or some of the concept art from the New Worlds, and like I've watched the trailer so many damn times. Like, there's some stuff, like if you're that passionate about it, just like you are with Star Wars, Tommy, you can't help but watch. And the same with Marvel movies. I've watched so many bloody Ant-Man TV spots in the vain hope that there'll be one new clip in there. So it's like, if you are that passionate about it, you can't help. You're just looking for every tidbit of information.
I was the same with Guardians. I watched every TV spot from every country, because a lot of them revealed one new scene or one new clip, or one new screenshot, one new set photo. I saw everything from Guardians right from the very beginning to the very end.
Yeah. Well, like, as of recording this, the Japanese Ant-Man trailer's just come out. I'm sure I'm going to watch this when we finish recording the podcast as well. So, but at the same time, even if you're a hardcore fan, there's a line. Like, there was that news that was dropped a little while ago that was huge spoilers with regards to Black Panther and Civil War, and I didn't read that. I'm not going to read this thing about Ant-Man and the post-credit scenes, because as much as like we love stuff and we want to know as much about it, there's a line that you don't cross. There's a line between being excited and wanting to find out as much news as you can to you've just ruined that thing you've been waiting for. So it's weird, it's a line, and everyone's line's different. Some people don't want to know anything, and some people want to know everything up to a point. So that line's different for everyone, but yeah, so I suppose it just depends how much you love the thing you want to know about, really, doesn't it? So, yeah. There was one other thing I wanted to go back to Arkham Knight just briefly. There was one thing I was going to ask you before you brought up about the Ant-Man thing, and that was yeah, like you said, like you didn't play Arkham Origins.
No, I did not.
Yeah, well, it was a good game. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I kind of liked it. It was kind of a little breath of fresh air a little bit for me, because I got a little bit worn out on City, and I think partly was just due to become a bit of a sucker for visuals, and it was quite a dreary looking game, which was depictive of the scene of which he was in, so it made sense. It had to be kind of dreary, but also the fact that I just come off the back of doing the Arkham Asylum walkthrough, so this was, by the time I was recording Arkham City, it was my 4th time playing a Batman game, and of course when I was recording Arkham Origins, it was my 6th time playing a Batman game, so I was really getting burnt out on the series. But if you do play Arkham Knight, there are some things they reference to Arkham Origins, because obviously Arkham Origins takes place before Asylum, so there's a few enemies they reference back to there. There's you have this this is awesome thing in Arkham Knight, the evidence locker, where basically every time you take down an enemy, there's evidence in the evidence locker from that enemy, and everyone you take down is in the prison, and you can go talk to them. Big baddies, small bad guys, the lot is so awesome. But there'll be some stuff in the evidence locker which will make no sense if you haven't played Arkham Origins. But
well, in that case, I guess you'll have to watch the Captain Dave walkthrough of Arkham Origins, available now on the Captain of Dave YouTube channel.
I laugh, but that's true. Do go watch it. But no, it's just another awesome feature in Arkham Knight. Like every time you take down the Penguin, Two-Face, whoever, his big bad guys, they all end up in GCPD, and you can go talk to them along with henchmen. By the point I'm at, where I finished, the place is just chock-a-block with people. It's insane. But it's just awesome, man. It's just awesome. But yeah, well, with that being said, I want to go back and play some more. So is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap this thing up?
No, I want to go play Elder Scrolls Online.
No, sweet. Well, I'll see you on Xbox then. But yeah, so you guys, for next week, the Segue segment, the 2 people we are trying to get through, we are trying to go through Tom Holland to Tyrese Gibson. And
such a strange pair.
As I say, the way you're linking between them is going to be exactly the same as the way we've always done it, except for we're not counting the movies they starred in together now. It's just going to be between actors and actresses, or musicians, or directors, or what have you. But the film they're in, that's just the link. That isn't actually, we're not actually going to count them anymore. So still say what film that you linked them between, but it's just the people we're counting from now on. And also, I realised we didn't come up with a question for you guys. So, unless you can think of anything better, Tommy, the thing on top of my head, I thought the thing that we were quite passionate about, and I didn't expect us to be quite passionate about, was the X-Men Fantastic Four thing.
Yeah.
What do you think, you guys? What is your opinion? What do you think would be a great reboot?
What would you like the future of X-Men and Fantastic Four to be? Would you like the film we suggested? Is there an idea you have? Would you like to keep them separate? Would you like Fox to just give it to Marvel? Where would you like to see these 2 films, in the next 10, 20 years?
Yeah, I think that's a better idea, like the way Tommy just said it. Not so what do you want the future to be? Do you want them to reboot? Do you want them to do what we've said? Do you want them to just give them away? Yeah, I think that's a better idea. What do you want the future of X-Men, Fantastic Four, or just Fox in general to be? So, yeah, you can either answer Tom Holland between Tyrese Gibson, or what do you want the future of X-Men and Fantastic Four to be? But that being said,
and if you really want your comment read out next week, make sure you include one of my favourite Marvel characters in there, which Fox also own, and that's Silver Surfer.
You get special Tommy points if you. See, now I'm expecting you to try and include the Silver Surfer in yours, Tommy. I see. I'll probably just crush that awesome list you had up before, but.
No, I just think the Silver Surfer, to be in the Fantastic Four universe, they could include it in that 60s universe. I think that'd be fun. They could have it in that kind of tongue-in-cheek thing as well, because it's his name's Norrin Rad and he's on a surfboard. You can well go cheesy in 60s with that.
And he's like, oh my god, it's a space alien. I figure now everyone would just be like some blogger. I had to throw that out for you, but that's some blogger being like, oh look, aliens, government's keeping it from us, blah 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 blah. Back then it would just be like, help me, Mr. Policeman. Oh look, the Fantastic Four. It would fit so much better. And that's what time. I really want this film to happen now. Damn it.
I know.
This is exactly what happened when I heard the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 rumour. Damn it.
I need to replay Ultimate Alliance.
It's a good game. That's
keep talking about it and I keep missing it. Ultimate Alliance 2 is the one I love so much.
Yeah, well, after Arkham Knight, that's probably what's coming. Re-walkthrough of Ultimate Alliance 1.
I might watch you play it while I play it.
Oh, Watchception. Yeah, but I think with that done, are you good to go, Tommy?
I'm good to go.
Alright, we're good to go. So, with that being said, my name's Dave.
And I'm Tommy.
And we will catch you guys later.